My name's John Senczuk. I'm the artistic director of the new Metcalfe Playhouse, which is a new venue operating out of the Empyrean Centre, which is at 12 Lake Street in Northbridge. The Empyrean Centre was originally the IMAX film cinema. It was a cinema complex. But such is the case with the IMAX franchise. They made so few of them that the entity of the IMAX Centre soon became basically redundant. But after the cinema enterprise actually became defunct, the whole building itself was vandalised. The screen was actually shredded. It was an extraordinary disgrace, really, that such an impressive building in a prime location in Northbridge was allowed to become derelict. In 2008, the Empyrean Group, led by James Ryan and his son Patrick Ryan, actually took over the building and renovated it, and a fantastic renovation. I became aware of the Empyrean Centre last Christmas. I'd been lamenting the fact that, as a theatre producer, a theatre director in Perth, that there were very few opportunities with the opening of the new Heath Ledger Theatre, the State Theatre Centre of Western Australia, down on Williams and Rose Street, which is a magnificent building, and it's fantastic, and it's the home of the Black Swan Theatre Company and the Perth Theatre Company. Fantastic venue for the subsidised companies in Perth. But I, as an independent producer, was unable to actually afford to go in there. So when I was lamenting this fact with Amelia Vranches from Community Newspapers, she published an article about me venting, and eventually from that particular article, Patrick Ryan and David Donovan, who's the general manager here, rang me and said, "Look, you want a cheap venue? You want a theatre space? Well, here it is." Well, you're not offered a theatre space every day of the week. And when I saw this venue, I thought, I can't believe that this is an inner city, Northbridge space that's being allowed to be in a state of disuse. So over the last 5 months, with their support, with the support of the City of Perth, I've actually now created a new theatre space for Perth audiences, for Perth actors and for Perth producers. And the important part about this is that it is for local communities. That I've created this new venue, and at the same time I've just launched a new 9-play continuous theatre season from the 28th of July. I just want to make sure that audiences know that they can come into Perth, come into Northbridge, and actually have a really enjoyable, entertaining time. So my season, for example, of 9 plays are all comedies. I want people in the theatre to actually enjoy the theatre. I want them to laugh at themselves. In fact, the majority of the plays that I'm producing in the next 6 months are actually Australian plays. And one of the great joys I have in doing that too is that the first play I actually have is a new play by David Williamson, arguably one of the greatest living writers in Australian theatre history. He's celebrating his 40th year in the theatre. 1991 was when his very famous play The Removalists was first presented. So here in his 40th anniversary year, he supports me in this venture by actually giving me the world premiere of his new play. First time it's ever happened in Perth. So here in Northbridge we've got something special happening. So I'm really delighted that David will actually be attending the opening we're having here on the 23rd of July in the middle of Northbridge. So I'm hoping that the enterprise itself will start to enliven, if you like, to change the culture, to just change the atmosphere of what is this Northbridge precinct. I want people to see the Northbridge that I love, the coffee shops, the restaurants, the personalities, the life that we have here. With this 9-play season, I'm just hoping to encourage audiences of all types to actually come back to what is the live theatre experience, to enjoy it. I have plays for young people. Norman Lindsay's fantastic short story, which he illustrated, called The Magic Pudding, which is the first time it's ever been created into a play for young people. I'm producing a pantomime at the end of the year, Aladdin. So that flies into the Playhouse in December. I'm working on presenting a restoration comedy. The first time we've done a restoration comedy, I think, in Perth for about 10 years. So that involves, probably more than anything, and what makes us distinctive, is that I'm engaging a huge number of local actors. The theatre's nothing without live performance. So live actors who choose to live and work in Perth are what the Metcalfe Theatre is all about, giving local actors the opportunity, local directors, local designers, to actually strut their stuff. And the other thing about local audiences then is that you can be assured that local audience, the entertainment dollar, is actually being circulated in Western Australia. Here, if you're attending this production, any production at the Metcalfe Theatre, you know that that entertainment dollar stays in Western Australia. And probably more importantly, it's actually staying in Northbridge. Because if you're here, you're not only supporting our show, but you're buying a coffee from a local coffee shop in Northbridge, or you're having a meal at a local restaurant, and you're bringing life back to arguably one of the most wonderful parts of the city. The Metcalfe Theatre is presenting a fabulous season of 9 works between July and December. The first play we're presenting is the world premiere of David Williamson's When Dad Married Fury. The second production, in honour of the great Australian writer Elizabeth Joly, is an adaptation of her novel The Sugar Mother. Following that, we'll be presenting John Aitken's play about Shostakovich with live music, a live grand piano and a classical pianist, in the work called Music from the Whirlwind. Our school holiday entertainment, first up, will be Norman Lindsay's fantastic musical for young people, The Magic Pudding. We'll also be presenting John Michael Swinbank in a wonderful cabaret called A Coward in Vegas, with the music of Noel Coward. That'll be followed by a fantastic revival of the restoration comedy Richard Brinsley Sheridan's The Rivals. And this is fantastic too because it'll coincide with a great exhibition from the Victoria and Albert Museum that's opening at the Art Gallery of Western Australia on 18th century ephemera. Following that, we're really pleased to actually bring Amanda Muggleton, who's actually made Perth her second home. Amanda will be starring in Willie Russell's wonderful musical Blood Brothers. Following that and leading up to Christmas, we're presenting the fabulous pantomime Aladdin. And Aladdin will be written by Monica Main, a fantastic identity in Perth, but also a wonderful wit. But the highlight of this particular production will be Edgar Metcalfe, in whose honour the theatre is named, will actually be playing the Widow Twankey. And he's become famous in Perth for his dame roles in pantomime. And finally, Glenn Hall, the wonderful comedian Glenn Hall, will be presenting us with the first satiric review the Perth's seen, and that will be the Lake Street Review 2011. So, what we want you to do, your part of the bargain, is that we'll present great quality theatre with great local actors in entertaining theatrical shows. Your part of the bargain, though, is that you must come and see us. We need you to come back to Northbridge. We need you to come and support the village that is the great Bohemian's heart of Perth.